In a world where VRMMOs have taken over and trash games flood the market, one player stands out, not because he's a hero, but because he's mastered the worst of the worst. This is the story of Sunraku, a wild, reckless gamer who dives into Shangri-La Frontier, a beautifully crafted world where monsters are deadly, secrets run deep, and every fight could change everything. From glitch-filled chaos to one of the greatest boss battles in anime, here's the full recap of everything that happened in Season 1. In the near future, screen-based gaming is replaced with full-dive VR games. The market is soon flooded with low-quality games filled with glitches known as trash games. One trash game hunter is Rakuro, who goes by his screen name Sunraku. His classmate Rei has a crush on him, but is too nervous to talk to him. After spending weeks completing his latest game, Rakuro suffers mental burnout and is convinced by local shop owner Mana to play a mainstream game instead, completely free of glitches with 30 million players, Shangri-La Frontier. Sticking with his preferred playstyle, Rakuro creates a wanderer character with twin blades, extra luck bonuses, and minimum armor except for swimming shorts and a bird head mask. Choosing to skip the game introduction, Rakuro begins fighting monsters while heading to the starting town Firstia. With increased luck, Rakuro levels up rapidly and is amazed by the glitch-free gameplay, eventually deciding to skip Firstia and go to the more advanced town Secondil. The bridge there is blocked by Firstia's area snake boss, whom Rakuro attacks with reckless enthusiasm. The introduction Rakuro skipped earlier reveals players may choose any playstyle, including non-combat characters such as academics, merchants, and farmers. Rei, already a powerful warrior in Shangri-La, visits Firstia hoping to encounter Rakuro when he starts the game. Despite his expertise of boss fights, Rakuro almost dies, not having known the snake boss usually requires at least 3 players. His victory promotes him to level 14, but his health continues to drop from the snake venom. A veteran player, Reiji, helps him register a respawn point before he dies, so he will not have to start the game over again. After respawning, Rakuro realizes his swimming shorts make him stand out, and not in a good way, forcing him to buy normal armor. Requiring new weapons, the blacksmith sends him to Diramarsh Swamp to mine ore, which is more difficult than Rakuro first assumed as the realistic swamp mud slows his movement. Now equipped with marsh daggers, Rakuro ignores the blacksmith's warnings and goes hunting monsters at night. Rakuro encounters Lycagon the Nightslayer, a completely unique monster, which is so high level, not one of the game's 30 million players have ever defeated it. Rei learns Rakuro has already reached Secondil. Despite executing perfect strikes on Lycagon's critical weak points, Rakuro isn't able to hurt her, and his legs are bitten off, but he swears to find and defeat Lycagon before he completes any more of the game. Respawning, he finds himself afflicted with Lycagon's curse. He cannot equip armor to his legs or body, though he can no longer fight monsters weaker than himself, and NPCs will treat him differently. Plus, the curse is permanent unless removed by a saint or killing Lycagon. Forced to return to his swim shorts, Rakuro suddenly encounters a unique scenario, an invitation to the Rabbit City Rabatuza, which he accepts. Inside the scenario, he is congratulated by White Rabbit named Amul for embodying the spirit of the Vorpal Rabbit, willingly attacking a superior enemy while hitting only the weak points. For Lycagon to curse him was actually Lycagon marking him as a worthy opponent. As such, Rakuro is the first player ever invited to meet Rabbit King Visash. Rei still cannot locate Rakuro, but Mana convinces her to keep trying. Rakuro reads online walkthroughs and confirms he is definitely the first to meet Visach. He offers him Vorpal training and equips him with a collar that reduces his experience gains by 50%, but increases his status gains by 250%. Rakuro is unexpectedly invited to Burp, an old trash game. Rakuro explains his rivalry with Lycagon. Katsuo considers playing Shangri-La too, as does Arthur Pencilgon, another trash hunter and fan of Rakuro. Due to many new players over summer break, Rakuro temporarily leaves the unique Vorpal scenario to focus on reaching the next town, Thirdrama. Emul accompanies him as an NPC follower, so they can teleport back to Rabatuza at any time. Unfortunately, having never been seen before, players quickly take pictures wanting to know how they can get an Emul NPC. Rakuro confirms weak monsters now flee from him. He chooses to instead defeat the area boss, Mud Digger, so he can travel to Thirdrama. Unfortunately, Mud Digger lives in a swamp which slows Rakuro's movements again. That night, Rakuro has a nightmare. Emul is a demon eating his character when he logs out. Rakuro tries to rely on skills but almost dies, until Emul saves him. After dealing Mud Digger a lot of damage, Rakuro is thrown into the air to die from the extreme fall, which cannot be avoided by any skill. Luckily, Emul teleports him on top of Mud Digger, turning his fall into an overpowered headbutt that kills Mud Digger instantly. Rakuro is pleased by the victory, but disappointed in himself for using Emul. Approaching Thirdrama, Emul disguises as a human girl. Unfortunately, the photograph of him has spread, and players now know he has a unique NPC and has fought Lycagon, bringing him to the attention of Saiger, a member of Rei's Lycagon Hunter clan, as well as many members of Ashura Kai, an assassin clan that kill other players for fun. Rakuro is accosted by Animalia, an animal-obsessed player who wants her own Vorpal Rabbit NPC. Suddenly, they are ambushed by Arthur Pencilgon, a level 99 player killer who has come for Rakuro. Rakuro recognizes Arthur as a fellow trash game hunter. They met in a post-apocalyptic trash game where gamers often ignored the impossible main quests to focus on fighting each other for resources. Arthur fought her way to becoming queen and the game's unofficial final boss, the dystopian Empress. In the end, Rakuro killed her in a suicide mission, beginning their unusual friendship rivalry. Arthur has traveled all the way from the 50th city Fictitia to kill him. Animalia reveals Arthur is specializing in assassinating players even higher level than herself. As they fight, Arthur passes a demand from Ashura Kai's leader to publicly share how to access the unique scenario for Vorpal Rabbit NPCs. Emul cannot sustain her human form and reverts back to a rabbit. To protect Emul, Animalia attacks Arthur, allowing Rakuro to dash for Thirdrama's gate to establish a respawn point, but is stopped by Arthur's fellow assassins. Animalia is defeated and begins dying of poison magic. From nowhere, Rakuro is rescued by Rei, having finally learned his location from her sister, Saiger 100, from the photograph of him with Lycagon's mark. Arthur is delighted to see Rei, but the distraction lets Animalia attack her with her unique magic spell. Animalia's spell kills both herself and Arthur. Surprising the assassins so much, Rakuro is able to escape into Thirdrama. Arthur takes her loss good-naturedly and invites Rakuro to talk later in the post-apocalyptic game, along with his other online friend Katsuo. Rakuro teleports to Rabatuza to begin playing the unique scenario. For his first training session, he is forced to fight a group of packhounds, all level 65 or higher. Rei decides next time she sees Rakuro in-game, she will send him a friend request. After dying 7 times in a row, Rakuro figures out the packhounds' attack patterns and kills them. His opponents grow progressively stronger: a tentacle parasite, a goblin berserker, a dino boar, a toxic eagle, a twin-head tiger, and a golem. This only promotes him to level 31 due to the reduced experience points of the Vorpal collar. Visach turns up to watch the 10th fight against a monster he caught just for Rakuro, Aberrant Woodmage level 120, a tree-type sorcerer so strong Visach only demands Rakuro survive 5 minutes in order to win the round. Rakuro discovers the Woodmage is impervious to physical attacks, so all he can do is dodge the attacks. After 2 minutes, Rakuro starts to suffer mental strain and considers dying. He then feels disgust at himself, having grown used to always taking the easiest path to victory in trash games. He successfully steals Woodmage's staff, removing his ability to use spells. Dodging until the time expires becomes easier, and Rakuro wins. Woodmage angrily breaks the rules and tries to kill him, but Visach kills Woodmage and gives Rakuro his reward, a title as an honorary Rabituzan citizen and removal of the troublesome Vorpal collar. Rakuro is disappointed until his citizenship unlocks another unique scenario, the Vorpal Epic. As it has complicated instructions, Rakuro decides to play the main game and go exploring for a while. While unable to equip clothes to his torso, Emul's brother Peets gives Rakuro a keffiyeh headdress with full body robe, so assassins will not recognize him, while deciding which city to visit next. Forfolkshire, Fivel, or Sixenvelt, Rakuro spots Ray watching him ominously. Arthur is disgusted by the weakness of Ashura Kai and their leader Orsalot. They used to be proud assassins until the game began applying penalties to murderers. Ashura Kai is also the only clan who know the location of unique monster, Weathermon the Tomb Guard, but dare not attack him in case they lose their valuable equipment. Arthur decides to kill Weathermon herself. Ray surprises Rakuro with a friend request. Rakuro still assumes she is trying to manipulate him for access to the unique scenario and accepts the request, planning to manipulate her instead. Having become online friends, Ray accepts he prefers to play solo and lets him travel to Forfolkshire alone. Passing through the prismatic forest with Emul, Rakuro is amazed by the variety of insect-type monsters, even witnessing a battle between Empire bees and a quad beetle. After killing the weakened beetle for its drop items, Rakuro sets out to find the area boss, Clown Spider. Rakuro is unable to enter the boss arena as other adventurers are currently attempting to beat it. After watching those adventurers die, Rakuro confronts Clown Spider and requests Emul not to assist him. After knocking Clown Spider from its web, he weakens it by dropping boulders on it, then he stabs its critical weak point and beats it without taking any damage himself. Sunraku receives an email from Arthur, as does Katsuo, who recently started playing the game. Arthur invites them to help her defeat Weathermon in 2 weeks, the day after a massive update that adds new missions, characters, and areas to explore. In the real world, Ray is able to speak to Rakuro, who barely remembers her name or that they attend the same school. Before she can reveal she is Saiger Zero, Rakuro rushes off to meet Arthur, but Ray considers talking to him at all a big success. Emul is terrified Rakuro plans to fight Weathermon and rushes to tell Visach. Rakuro later learns why from Arthur. In Shangri-La, if an NPC dies, they are dead and gone permanently. Emul will never respawn, and her role in the unique Vorpal scenario will be over. Visach is unhappy with Rakuro's plans, but Rakuro explains Ashura Kai are exploiting a game mechanic, harvesting experience by starting a fight with Weathermon, then running away without actually fighting. Arthur plans to give Weathermon the fight he deserves. Visach feels sympathy for Weathermon, cursed with being undead and unable to join his wife in the afterlife, so instead, Weathermon guards her tomb. Visach takes Rakuro's Vorpal chopper knives and personally ascends them, combining Rakuro's experience of fighting Lycagon with the armor of the quad beetle, resulting in the Vorpal knives Moonblade, Waxing, and Moonblade, Waning, one which sacrifices health for powerful strikes. Unfortunately, he must be level 50 to use them, meaning he needs to go up 19 levels in only 2 weeks. Arthur sends him and Katsuo to train in the futuristic iron ruins of the Divinity near Sixenvelt, though Rakuro is confused when Arthur gives him a fishing rod, claiming he will definitely need it to survive the ruins. After defeating sentry robots, Rakuro and Katsuo follow Arthur's complicated map to a hidden room within the ruins rumored to be tailored for fast leveling. They find the room, Tearlight Lake, which according to Arthur contains the monster Lifestide Lake Serpent. After dragging Lifestide to the surface, Rakuro reveals his temporary weapons, Empire B twin blades, made for him by Emul's sister B-Lock. After defeating Lifestide, Katsuo reveals skill linking, a core game mechanic, along with the ability to get a job or join a guild, all which Rakuro missed by skipping the tutorial in Firstia, making the game almost unnecessarily difficult for him. After several days, Rakuro and Katsuo reach level 42 and 40, respectively, though Rakuro hides his foolishly skipping first year from Arthur to avoid embarrassment. Arthur gives them until full moon, the one time a month they can talk to unique ghost NPC Setsuna of bygone days, who provides access to Weathermon. Arthur leads them to Setsuna's secret hiding place in the Prismatic Forest. She explains Weatherman blames himself for her death, which occurred during a silly marital argument, so he sealed her grave behind a barrier powered by moon magic. She hopes they defeat Weathermon so they can be together again. From her modern clothing and language, Rakuro suspects her backstory involved dying in the game's Age of Divinity, and wonders if she knows anything about the Vorpal scenario. Rakuro is aware Arthur's real identity is Towa, a supermodel constantly hounded by her fans, and suspects it causes her to feel sympathy for Setsuna. Based on Weathermon's fighting style, Rakuro skips leveling up and instead trains his own play style not in Shangri-La, but in the Burp Trash game. There he meets Dragonfly, a first-time novice gamer. Agreeing to a duel, Rakuro shows Dragonfly how to take advantage of glitches. Elsewhere, Rei attempts to write a letter to Rakuro asking to join his party and play together. Dragonfly eventually wins one duel using a double-punch glitch Rakuro and other players have not seen before, impressing them as no one has discovered a new BERP glitch in years. Dragonfly decides to invent a name for her new glitch. Returning to Shangri-La, Rakuro decides to try skill linking by visiting one of Emul's triplet siblings, Elka the Skill Gardener in Rabatuza. He acquires 6 linked skills and a Vorpal Moonblade skill, not initially realizing Elka is completely money-obsessed, and convinces him to spend almost all his coin. Arthur reveals the next problem. Since Ashurakai use Weathermon to harvest experience, there will definitely be Ashurakai members there on the day of the duel, unwilling to let Weathermon actually die. Luckily, a new update has placed a restriction on assassins. If an assassin dies, all their accumulated money and some equipment gets transferred to whoever killed them. Therefore, before they can fight Weathermon, Arthur decides they must completely destroy Ashurakai by assassinating all its members. Shangri-La undergoes a major update with new quests, maps, and a new job title. Players notice all shops are sold out of resurrection items. Rei finally sends her letter to Rakuro inviting him to explore the update, but she then receives a message from Saiger 100 that someone revealed the location of Ashurakai's headquarters. Rei is forced to quickly send a letter canceling Rakuro's invite. Both letters leave Rakuro confused. Emul reveals she cannot go with him against Weatherman, but gives him a mysterious good luck necklace she made. Ashurakai are wiped out by a massive army led by Rei, so Orcelot and 4 surviving assassins flee to Weatherman's arena, but find the entrance closed as Arthur, Rakuro, and Katsuo are already inside. As they confront Weatherman, a samurai in futuristic armor, they carry out their plan. Arthur has determined Weatherman varies his fighting style in stages, so the only way to win is surviving all the stages and hope Weatherman surrenders. Rakuro takes the first stage, which lasts 10 minutes, but he is killed. Katsuo quickly resurrects him, revealing it was Arthur who bought every resurrection item from every town in preparation for the battle. Arthur hands Rakuro and Katsuo the Tear Jewel of Rebirth, 4 per person since she bought 12 for extras and emergencies, before the battle with Weatherman, and the Divine Life Salve that lets them revive at half their max HP. She relays the plan they'll follow in order to conquer Weatherman. After they survive the battle for 10 minutes, Weatherman summons his horse, a tactical mount named Kirin. Together they attempt to prevent Weatherman from mounting Kirin by Katsuo attracting its attention and Rakuro continuing to fight Weatherman. In Phase 2, they have to survive for another 10 minutes. When Arthur realizes that Rakuro and Katsuo are in trouble, she uses the reward scale, which allows one to sacrifice expensive items in return for the ability to bestow temporary stat boosts. She spends whole fortune for 300 points, giving 100 to Rakuro's luck and stamina, and he succeeds in taking away Weatherman's sword. Arthur explains the last time a Shurikai reached Phase 3 in the battle against Weathermon, he unleashed a massive instant-kill explosion. This time, though, she knows Weathermon is an undead, so as he prepares his explosion, she douses him with holy water. As Weatherman burns, Kirin reconfigures itself into a robot to fight Katsuo and Arthur, who prevent it helping Weatherman. Rakuro fights Weathermon alone, but decides just surviving another 10-minute stage is boring. Instead, he wants to really defeat him. As such, he equips a real helmet of quad beetle armor and his moonblades, since Weatherman's armor is crumbling, meaning he can now take damage. Rakuro's critical attacks succeed in causing Weatherman to fall to the ground. Arthur gives Katsuo an item that boosts him to level 99 temporarily, in exchange for dropping his real level from 50 to 20 afterwards, hoping to destroy Kirin, much to his chagrin. Weatherman notices the good luck necklace Rakuro received from Emul and abruptly stops fighting. He mentions someone named Alice, an ID key fragment, and Shangri-La's true frontier. They resume fighting, only Weatherman is now far quicker, more savage, and reveals multiple attacks he would not used before. His next attack destroys Rakuro's helmet and kills him, but Weatherman fails to notice Rakuro had already set up another resurrection tool in advance to revive himself instantly. Weatherman begins using the same set of multiple attacks repeatedly, ending with the same unavoidable instant death attack, claiming he will not fall until Rakuro surpasses his ultimate move. Rakuro quickly runs out of full resurrection items, leaving only the 50% health recovery items. Arthur and Katsuo manage to shatter the armor around Kirin's waist, exposing its critical weak point. Combining both their strongest attacks, they pierce the weak point and Kirin is destroyed. Rakuro, with no health items remaining, has only one chance for a perfect parry, or the whole battle will be a failure. For luck, he dons his original bird mask, while Weatherman begins his unavoidable attack. Fusing his moonblades into the single-weapon Twin Moon, Rakuro increases his chance of performing both a perfect parry and critical damage. He also stabs himself, dropping his health to 1, allowing him to use a skill to increase his speed. With one perfectly timed move, Weatherman's unavoidable attack is parried, snapping his sword and shattering his armor wide open. Weatherman congratulates Rakuro on his victory as the arena fills with swirling cherry blossoms. Weatherman praises Rakuro for his skills and names him Descendant of the Frontier before crumbling to dust over Setsuna's grave. Setsuna's ghost thanks them and reveals she is not actually the real Setsuna, but is a perfect copy left behind by the real Setsuna to help Weatherman find peace. Now that he can rest in peace, Setsuna's fate is to disappear, but first she tasks them with discovering the truth behind the world by finding Bahamut, though what this is she leaves unclear. The game announces to all players the first defeat of a unique monster and the start of the next stage of Shangri-La's world story, which even the game's lore researchers did not know existed. Furious at being betrayed, Orcelot and his surviving assassins attack, hoping to take whatever loot they got from Weatherman's defeat, but Arthur activates a friend summoning ability for help, which summons Rakuro's friend Rei. Orcelot and the assassins are killed, passing all Ashurakai's remaining rare items to Arthur. As the only assassin left, Arthur asks Rei to kill her in a duel to atone for her many kills and end Ashurakai forever, which Rei accepts. After batting and killing Arthur, Rei asks if Rakuro and Arthur are lovers and is relieved they are not. The friend summoning expires, sending Rei back where she came from before she can ask to join his party. Rakuro retrieves one of Arthur's swords Rei forgot to pick up. At Utopia Entertainment, the company that created Shangri-La Frontier, everyone is panicked as the world story called for Weatherman to be the 4th unique monster killed, not the first, especially the lead world designers Tsukuyo and Ritsu, and marketing executive Sakai. Vaisachi is satisfied at Weatherman finally moving on and offers Rakuro knowledge of the truth behind the world, though he requires Rakuro fetch a receiver, a positioner, and a transmitter from a place called Lightless Barrens, though he gives no indication where in Shangri-La this is. Rakuro received the book Weatherman's Truth, a biography of Weatherman's life, and a list of his unique sword moves. He also receives a unique item storage that will protect his items even if he dies. He also finds the storage space already contains armors, weapons, vehicles, and other items, much to his confusion. Out in the wilderness, Likagon continues to wait for Rakuro. Examining the items in the inventoria, Arthur determines none of the armors will function without a non-standard ether reactor, and without the armor they can't equip any of the weapons. Katsuo reveals he received one reactor as loot for defeating Kirin, but it is broken and none of the NPC blacksmiths can repair it. Rakuro suspects Visage could repair it, but before handing it over, Katsuo demands to know how to access the Vorpal unique scenario. Rakuro reveals about fighting Likagon for 5 minutes without taking damage, and Katsuo reluctantly concludes he couldn't manage it anyway. Arthur reveals via a complex series of loopholes she managed to keep several items despite Rei killing her, namely the reward scales, Weathermon's biography, Setsuna's brooch, and her favorite weapon. Having seen how much killing a unique monster is worth, they decide to form a clan, the Wolf Gang. A representative of the Likagon clan tracks them down, but they flee before he can ask questions. When Visage is nowhere to be found, so Rakuro asks if Belak is interested in training to obtain the title Ancient Craftsman needed to repair the reactor. She agrees after much persuading. To become an ancient craftsman, Belak requires a working legacy weapon from the Age of Divinity and a magic application unit from the Road of Past Glories. Fortunately, the Katana Harbinger is available in the Inventoria, but as joint owners of Inventoria Rakuro, needs Arthur and Katsuo's permission for Belak to dismantle it. Rakuro decides to head for Past Glories first, though it is a long distance away somewhere between the towns Adold and Eleventar. By chance, Lightless Barrens is close to Eleventar, where Rakuro needs to find the receiver, positioner, and transmitter for Visage. They pass through Forfolkshire into Ancient Soul Canyon, where Likagon's curse protects him from miasma and repels undead monsters. After working together to defeat a Dullahan general, Rakuro loots its rusty sword decapitator and gives it to Belak for repair. Rakuro is intrigued that the canyon's upper cliffs are infested with crystal scorpions even Belak is afraid of, as scorpions are often over level 100. Eventually they confront the area boss, Humming Lich, which can only be damaged by holy weapons, which Rakuro does not have. Belak comes up with a solution, so Rakuro and Amul keep the Lich distracted, but panic when it splits into 7 smaller skeletons. By polishing the decapitator sword with holy water, Belak removes the rust and gives it a holy attribute. Figuring out each skeleton's attack patterns, Rakuro decapitates 6 of them, then works with Belak to decapitate the original Lich with Decapitator only just avoiding being destroyed itself. With Lich beaten, the miasma vanishes, allowing them to leave the canyon and enter Eighthold. Belak and Emul teleport to Rabbituza to rest while Rakuro explores Eighthold, but as soon as they are gone, he recklessly dashes back to the canyon, unable to resist the urge to fight a crystal scorpion. Rakuro climbs the canyon walls and finds the Crystal Nest cliffs. Immediately he is attacked by a gigantic scorpion made entirely from crystal, and within moments he is surrounded by dozens of scorpions and killed. He refuses to accept defeat. Returning to the nest, he locates an unusual deposit of black crystals, which he manages to collect before being killed again. The crystal turns out to be a Roncolith lapis, which has high concentrations of magic. Still unsatisfied, he returns again with a plan. He first tricks the scorpions into running into each other, shattering their hard shells, then teleports into the Inventoria as an emergency refuge. Then, after the scorpions leave, he teleports out again and collects the broken shells. With careful timing, he tricks multiple scorpions into targeting the stinger of a single scorpion, snapping it off. Unfortunately, he mistimes his next attack and just misses grabbing the stinger before he is killed again. Despondent, he decides to quit temporarily and instead show the materials to Belak. Belak admits crystals are better suited to magic jewelry than weapons. Fortunately, she knows one of the best jewelers for the job, Darnyata. Unfortunately, to get the jewels to Darnyata, Belak is forced to summon hyperactive Kate Sith Aramise, vice captain of Kadzaria. the Kate Sith Kingdom. Needing rest, Rakuro logs out and ends up ignoring messages from Arthur and Katsuo to meet for something important. He returns to Belak and discovers that since Kate Siths are notorious for stealing from customers, she told Kazuria's king all about Rakuro, who responded by offering him all of Kazuria's support in the form of Aramais as a party member. Belak thus explains to Rakuro that due to being recognized by Lycagon and slaying Weathermon, in political terms Rakuro is now as powerful as an entire kingdom, which has some advantages, but comes with the risk. Rakuro decides to finally explore Eighthold, but even disguised he is immediately recognized by a magical girl with a deep male voice who turns out to be Professor, Master of the Library, the player clan that collects the lore and history of Shangri-La. As the first person in history to defeat a unique monster, he hopes to form a partnership with Rakuro to discover the real meaning behind the world of Shangri-La Frontier.